I've been waiting for this all year. Every time I can get an opportunity to host a conversation with CareerTrackers Alumni is something that I look forward to. And we've got two phenomenal alumni, Renee and Andrew. While I'm just making a brief introduction, you want to chuck yourselves on your camera and off mute, and we'll get you set up.
I am here. Hello.
Awesome. Thanks, Renee. Thanks for joining. Andrew, where are you?
I'm here. Can you hear me? See me?
I can hear you. I can't quite see you, but that might be just because of my computer. Maybe
I'll turn the video on.
There you are. Now I can see you. We'll get you guys under spotlight. And hey, look, just as some context for everyone on the call, we've invited Renee and Andrew deliberately because they are past award winners at the gala dinner. You heard Jess talk about the gala dinner and award celebration, which for those of you who are doing your internship for the first time, you won't have seen one. You may have heard about it, but you won't have seen one. It is usually the biggest occasion of the CareerTrackers calendar. For example, this year's gala dinner, which was held in Melbourne back in February, had 2,500 guests. And at that dinner, we give out these awards. And Renee and Andrew were award winners as student interns when they were studying at university. But now they've been off into their career for a little bit, doing amazing things. And so we've invited them to come and have a bit of a chat with us. I'd like for them to, the one difficult question that I would warn you both that I'll ask you is, why do you think you won the award? And what were the reasons that were explained to you back when you won the award? And then we'll kick around some ideas. And hopefully for all the students on the call, one, you'll have had the connection with two phenomenal alumni. All the alumni are amazing, but Renee and Andrew in particular, I've had the pleasure of getting to know over the years. And I know that if my engagement with them has been any judgment to go by, I've learned a hell of a lot from them, and I know that you will as well. So look, Renee, why don't we start with you, and Andrew will go with you next. Just give your pitch. We use the term pitch in the interview training. All the students on the call have trained with a pitch, and I know that both of you were. Just give us a brief version of your pitch so that everyone can get to know who you are.
No worries. So hi everyone, an absolute pleasure to be here today. My name is Renee Wootton. I'm a proud Thurl woman. My family are from the Shoalhaven Wollongong region of New South Wales, where my nan grew up, was one of 11 kids, and lived and grew up on a slaughterman's property down there. However, I grew up in small country towns, both in Queensland on the Sunshine Coast and more recently on the mid-north coast of New South Wales, before coming to Sydney in 2011 to pursue my degree with UNSW, where I'm now a qualified aerospace engineer and a commercial pilot. Shall I hand back to you now, Andrew?
Thanks, Renee. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. My name's Andrew. I'm a proud Aboriginal man from the Bunya Mountains here in Queensland. I graduated from university back in 2013 with a lonely accounting degree, which is not as fancy as Renee's aerospace engineering, but it's still okay. I had a few jobs over the years, but I've actually just started a new job today. I'm working at QIC, Queensland Investment Corporation, as their Indigenous Partnership Manager. As well as that, I am on the board of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Community Health Service and on the board of the Institute for Urban Indigenous Health. A couple of extra positions there, and a lot of what I kind of have got out of the early stages of my career has been off the back of CareerTrackers and the opportunities that I had as an intern and as a student, which I think we'll talk about a bit later.
And Andrew, a degree in finance and accounting is more than okay, just for the record.
Just doesn't sound as cool as aerospace engineering, does it? Like, that's one of the coolest degrees you can get, I reckon.
I'm sure Renee is going to be on the moon or in space sometime soon, so
I hope so.
We'll have a more difficult conversation about that later. Hey, can you both, Renee, we'll go back to you. Can you tell us, when did you win an award at the gala? What was the award? And can you answer that difficult question? What was told to you? Why did you win that award? What was your recollection?
No worries. So I was the lucky recipient of the Project Excellence Award, and that was back in 2015, which was presented to me by Alan Joyce and my manager at the time, Bertrand Masson. And I truly believe that that award was given to me at the time because of the opportunity and the development that my manager gave to me at the time. Had I not had somebody who was willing to make sure that I developed and got the absolute most out of my internship, I wouldn't have been that recipient. And in the same token, had I not put my hand up and accepted the challenges and worked really hard, again, it would not have been possible.
Thanks, Renee. And we'll come back in a moment to just talk a bit about the projects that you were working on. Andrew, how about you?
Renee said she was lucky, but she wasn't lucky. She worked very hard to get that. So, yeah, don't think it was all luck, Renee. I was the award winner of the Intern of the Year in 2014, I think. It was the start of 2014 that I won that. I guess, why did I think I won it? Well, to be honest with you, back then it was a bit of a smaller pool to choose from, so I had that in my advantage. But I guess for me, I just wanted to do everything that I could to take it to not waste the opportunity that I had. You know, I started in 2011 at university, which is basically when CareerTrackers started to take off. And I remember a distinct conversation that I had with a guy called Nick Wootton, who's a very successful alumni as well. And we went on a trip down to Sydney to PwC. There was like 10 or 15 of us. And he was so excited. And he said, you know, I've been waiting years for this opportunity. And, you know, I'd been in the program for like a few weeks at that time. And it kind of just struck me that, wow, this is all happening so quickly. I really shouldn't waste this, and I shouldn't you know, take this for granted. And I think just over the 3 years that I was at university, that's all I tried to do. Everything that, whether it was university work, whether it was tutoring other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students at QUT through the ITAS program, whether it was in the internships, whether it was, you know, at LDIs or at kickoffs, or all that sort of stuff, I just tried to make the most of it. I never set out to be Intern of the Year. It just kind of happened because I think I took my time to make the most of all the opportunities that I had while I was a student.
And I think just to sort of summarize a lot of what you say there, Andrew, is, and the students are familiar with the 3 pillars of success, right? Like, you know, you were smashing university, you built up your ability so much so that you did really well academically speaking. You did such a great job in your internships, and you were such an active member of the student community. You know, you talked about the relationship that you had with Nick, and I know that there are loads of others that you built up really close relationships with throughout the time. And I think that's an incredible legacy that you have from back in 2014. And I'm sure that even if it was today, you know, with 1,000 students in the program, you'd still have a good chance. So you don't have to be too humble about that back in 2014. And I have to go back and look at the numbers to see how many students were in the program back then. But no, that's not the case at all. Renee, can we talk about the project? Because I think that's something that's quite special as part of the award that you won as the Project Excellence winner.
Yes.
Can you talk about the particular project that you felt may have contributed to that? I know that you had done a lot of work on some pretty big aircrafts, and you made some pretty big impacts as well. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, definitely. So my project manager or manager at the time provided me with the opportunity to complete a review of why the A380, which is the 2-level double-decker, one of the biggest aircraft commercially that Qantas had at the time, it had a significantly longer turnaround time out of our Melbourne port than it did in Sydney. So it was taking our engineering crews 2 hours longer to do what they were doing in Sydney in Melbourne. And turnaround time is defined as the time it takes to onboard inbound passengers, remove all rubbish and catering off the flight, and then re-onload new passengers, catering, fuel, along with completing any minor maintenance at the gate. So in order to execute this project and deliver it to a high standard, I really relied on my manager to provide me with data, which set me up from the get-go. And at the end of the project, I was able to deliver that project work to the engineering executive team. So my task was to tell a story with the data available. So I was required to analyse aircraft data, which as an aircraft flies, it saves millions of points of data per second on points such as fuel levels, air temperature, speeds, altitudes, and much more. outside of the aircraft data, I also needed to understand what was happening on the ground in Melbourne with the engineering crews, the check-in staff and security. So the best feedback you'll ever receive is from people actually carrying out the job. So it was proposed that I go to Melbourne and actually interview the staff members down at the terminal. So keep this in mind, I was in my 3rd year of interning. I was 22 years old at the time. So again, at the end of the internship, I had to present a PowerPoint with my methodology analysis findings over that 3-month period to 8 of the most senior engineering staff in the business. And I guess a quick call out here is I didn't have to step up and actually deliver that presentation. I chose to do that. So with a great engineering mentor and support, I was able to identify the engineering delay drivers out of Melbourne, which were based on the routes that the aircraft flew into Melbourne. They flew through significantly worse weather during the summer months, which led to more lightning strike damage on the aircraft. Thus, more engineering maintenance was required of the aircraft on the ground in Melbourne. Secondly, the route outbound from Melbourne was to Dallas, which required a 2-hour thorough security check by US employees, which again wasn't a requirement out of Sydney. And finally, the aircraft was also found to have more wear and tear as a result of flying out of Dubai, where there's a lot of sandstorms. And our main base for aircraft parts and maintenance was actually in Sydney. So when the aircraft arrived, then was actually apparently more damaged than it was arriving into Sydney. There weren't always the parts availability and resources there to actually execute the work, so it led to major delays. So that was a bit about the project.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you knew it so well. You're still talking about it in such great detail, Renee.
Yes, I remember it very well. I spent many months working on it.
And it also sounds like you saved Qantas a bit of time and money and productivity and loads of efficiencies at the same time. I think another important note as well, sorry, Renee, was that this was after, you didn't just walk into your first internship and do this. You had experience, you had developed yourself, you had attended lots of training, you had lots of support and guidance from your workplace. And it sounds like you were able to take advantage of every opportunity that Absolutely. When the time came to step up into a project, you were ready for that.
Yeah, definitely. And that was consistent support, not only through the CareerTrackers mentoring program, but every internship. I would say a lot of it was influenced by myself though. It didn't always land in my lap. I was very much going out and asking for support, asking for additional training and always getting involved, which is a really key call out and something I suggest or challenge each of you guys going into internships moving forward is don't be scared to ask for what you need and what you want to make an influence and make an impact and learn so that you can deliver things to a high standard.
That's really great advice. Andrew, I'm also keen to get your advice to the students. They're in their first and second weeks, or some are starting their internship shortly. That's going to be the second part to the question, but the first part I'm keen to address with you is thinking back to your own development when you're a student, going back to your first internship. You talked about that trip coming down to PricewaterhouseCoopers with Nick. From that point thereafter, you were in the program for, I think, basically every year of your university degree. You did a number of internships in organizations, and then as a graduate, you constantly stepped up your game. For those of you who have paid attention to the program day advertisement where you can register for your sessions, you'll have seen that Andrew and Niven is actually hosting an Excel skills masterclass tomorrow. So if you haven't gone on and registered for that already, now's the time to do it. But Andrew, as an example, Excel skills is something that you built your abilities in, to the point that I don't think I can find anyone who knows Excel as well as yourself. Maybe Renee's a front runner, but can you talk about the developmental process that you had over the course of your internships and as a graduate?
Yeah, so I guess when I went through the CareerTrackers program, I didn't really know how good it was until it finished. And what I mean by that is, all of those summer and winter kickoffs and all those sessions where, the student advisors would tell you, hey, we're time to do the pitch, count off your name and smooth tables and all that sort of stuff. And then you'd go through it over and over and over again. And I was so sick of that pitch thing by the end of it. But, when I compare that to what my friends did at university that weren't in the CareerTrackers program, just the confidence and skills that I had in myself when I left university and took on my first graduate role was was leaps and bounds ahead of where they were. They talk about closing the gap, the initiatives of closing the gap. Well, organisations like this are actually creating a gap, where as Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people are getting ahead of our non-Indigenous counterparts by being part of a program like this, if your focus is in the business world. The self-confidence that I got through that 3 years of doing internships and meeting people in corporations. When I was 16, 17 at school, I used to think that, you had to be an absolute genius and you had to be, all these things to be able to work in a big organization. And the reality is they're just normal people at the end of the day. They're just people that live their life similar to the way that we all go about our day-to-day lives. They have interests, they have hobbies, they're quite easy people to get along with if you get to know them. And I guess the other thing is to back yourself. Renee said that when she did that project, she was only 22. And I guess don't be limited by your age. When I went through the internship program, I was 18 when I started university. So I did internships when I was 18, 19 and 20. And yeah, like the opportunities that I had and the confidence that my managers gave in me, helped me accelerate the career much faster than I would have. Like I'm still only, what am I now? I'll be 28 in April next year. So getting close to 28. And the job that I'm doing now is, I don't think I would have got that job at this stage in my career without Career Trackers. I may have gotten to this job eventually. I might have gotten to, be on some boards eventually in my life. But I definitely wouldn't have been there if I didn't get that, kickstart at the start. And I think it's really important as an intern to make sure that you really take advantage is the wrong word. Take responsibility on yourself to when you go to winter kickoffs and you go to summer kickoffs and you go to LDI gala dinner. That's a really good example. My last job at UQ, this lady walked in and she said, I said, where do you come from? Rah, 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 just that sort of stuff. And she said, I've been working at Lendlease for the last 10 years. I said, Lendlease, cool. Do you know Craig Laslett? She just looked at me a bit funny. She said, Craig, wait, hold on. Is that the boss? Is that the guy that's the CEO? I was like, yeah, that's him. Yeah. And she goes, look, I've heard of him, but I've never actually met him. And I then went on to tell her that, at one of the gala dinners, I sat next to him and had dinner with him one night and got to know him quite well and stayed in touch with him and all these sort of things. And I don't even know where Lendlease office is. I have no idea. I barely know what the company does, to be perfectly honest with you. And here's a lady that's worked 10 years of her life at that company. And, they're the sort of things that when you're having dinner with these people, don't take that for granted and give yourself an opportunity to learn and to listen and to really take in what's going around you. Because now that I'm 6 or 7 years out of the program, the opportunities for alumni are developing, but they're not as solid as they are for interns. And the alumni stuff is getting better and better every year, and it's more on the alumni, I guess, just to work out what we're doing in the alumni space. And I think Tian will do a great job at that. But the program for students is amazing. And I think really take everything in when you're an intern and really enjoy the process. It'll be over faster than you realize. And I hope that, if you've got any or all questions, reach out to people in your organization, reach out to your advisors, reach out to alumni if you can find them around the traps. There's a fair few of us now. We're always happy to give back. Most of us are anyway. Awesome. Yeah, does that answer the question, Adam? Anything?
Thank you so much. Thanks, Andrew and Renee. That was such great advice. And thankfully we're recording it so we could use it with students who weren't able to see this today. Hey, really keen on from both of you in 30 seconds. What does the next couple of years look like for you? What are you trying to achieve? Andrew, you've just started a new job. I know that you have a young child now, which is so exciting. Give us just 30 seconds on what does the future look like for you?
Yeah, I've got 2 children actually at home. Me and we're not married, but we're just say wife because it's easier. We actually met through the Career Trackers program. So we've got 2 little babies that happened because of Career Trackers as well. So that's quite nice. Yeah, look, for me, the next kind of few years of my life is definitely about the kids. I think the first 5 years of their life is very important. In terms of my professional career though, it's just solidifying my understanding, skills and knowledge in the and making a difference in the economic independence of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. I think that's 100% what I'm passionate about, and if I can continue the good work of the people that came before me in that economic independence space, I think that's where I can hopefully add value.
Thanks, Andrew. And Renee, do you want to finish this off?
No worries. So as Adam alluded to earlier, I am on a mission to get into the space sector at the moment. I have almost 10 years of experience in the aviation industry now, and long term, I really see myself as an Indigenous leader in the tech space. Whether that's in the space sector or somewhere else is to be defined. But as a result of this incredible program, I'm now one of 20 women in the alumni program with CareerTrackers, and I've got an incredible relationship with my mentor now, and that's leading to some really exciting opportunities. I have a massive commitment to giving back to community, and I've got some exciting news coming up in the next week, which I'll share with you guys in the next day or two. But it means that I now have a platform to give back to women and I guess less advantaged people, particularly from my old communities, to be able to inspire them and empower women to get into the STEM space. So I'm going to keep tracking down that. It seems to be very well serving for me and my community. I'm very passionate about STEM and getting women into engineering. So if any of you guys listening today are interested in anything I've mentioned today, I would love for you to reach out either via LinkedIn or through CareerTrackers, whatever you like, and help you start your journey in the same space.
Awesome. Thanks, Renee and Andrew, and congratulations on everything you've achieved, and let us know where we can continue to play a role in helping you see all of those goals and dreams come true. Thanks so much for joining us, and Andrew, particularly on your first day of work. Hopefully you didn't upset anyone to be here today.
Thank you so much, Adam. Really appreciate it. And all the best, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, all the best, everyone. Thank you very much.